morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. Everyone had some
right.
coffee? This is going to be a great session, although it's hard to beat Brian and Michael. But we're in a good competition here, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
healthy.
Absolutely.
So I am
Anyone got a Bloody Mary? Okay, sorry.
So I'm so pleased to be sitting here with Kieran. Kieran is a highly accomplished marketer. As we all know, we've got some wonderful people here today, you in the audience and folks that are here to share their stories as growth CMOs. Kieran has spent half of his career in the agency world and half managing brands like Belkin, Helio, and Radio Shack. Kieran, what were some of your influences along the way as you became a growth CMO?
Wow, great question. Actually, yesterday was a really, really important day for me, and you think about influences. Yesterday, I celebrated my 30th anniversary in the United States. 30 years ago, yesterday, 1985, came fresh off the plane, as we say then, fresh off the boat, fresh off the plane. And this country is a phenomenal country. So when you talk about influences, you're in no better country in the world to be able to do what you want to do. And that, in my mind, has been the biggest influence. Being able to come to this country and get to do the things that I've done and hope still to do, and just have that supportive environment to be able to do it. So I think that's the biggest thing. The US is my biggest influence.
Wow, great. That's wonderful to hear. And you're managing three very different brands right now, a 30-year-old brand and a startup brand. You want to share a little bit about how that is to manage completely different portfolio of brands?
It's nearly like you kind of got your kids off to college and then you had another one to come along the way, right? It's like, ugh. So really, yeah, so Belkin International, Belkin itself, Belkin the brand is a 33-year-old company. 2 years ago, Belkin acquired Linksys, the networking company. That's a 27-year-old company now. And about the same time, we spun out last year Wemo, which is our Internet of Things brand. It was a product under the Belkin brand. And after a very, very successful CES last year, where we won 16 Best in Show awards, we decided to spin it out as its own standalone brand. So we're a house of brands with those three distinct and separate brands.
Wonderful. And Wemo is fascinating. How many in here have heard of Wemo?
Oh, good.
Excellent.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, it has captured my heart and the hearts of many, many consumers. And I have a little video to show you guys, for those of you who haven't heard of Wemo. Can we roll the video, please?
We human beings heart this technological world because it connects us with likes and alerts and notifications that tell us what is happening, when it happened, and if it will happen again. It puts us here, here, and here, instead of here. Under this bed, saying yes to this girl. In this ridiculously sweet hug. And nothing should keep you away from here. Not an iron you think you left on. Not lights you think you left off. Not dinner you know you should be cooking. But if any of it does, it's time to ask yourself, can I Wemo that? I need to warm up the place before I get home. Can I Wemo that? I need to snooze, but I also need coffee. Can I Wemo that? It's raining and the sprinklers are on. Can Wemo stop that? My kids need a TV curfew when I'm out. Can I Wemo that? Wemo will monitor, measure, and manage this home that is your life. Like magic. It lets you be there when you're not there. So how about you take today and Wemo that?
That's pretty good, huh? Wow. So when I first saw that, I still get goosebumps, actually, because it is wonderful to, as a consumer, it's almost like you're providing technology to liberate me from technology, and it's a little bit of an oxymoron there. But it obviously came from a consumer need that you identified. Can you talk a little bit about how you were able to come up with these ideas?
Sure. So when you think about the smart home, the connected home, really what the power and benefit's going to be, and it's pretty phenomenon, and we're only still scratching the surface of it, right? And so, in essence, what it really allows you, with all these things that are going to be connected, and we've all heard the various forecasts, right? 50 billion things by 2020, right? And 70% of all cell phone users are now smartphones. And the smartphone is really this kind of remote control for your life, to what you can do with it. And so really for us, Wemo is the most approachable entry point into the marketplace. When you think about 4 or 5 years ago, if you want to do a smart home kind of implementation, you're probably looking at a minimum of a $5K investment just to kind of say, yes, I'm going to do it, right? With a Wemo Switch, which is a smart plug, you just plug it into the wall, that is $39, right? And you can do something. You can plug in a table lamp. A colleague of mine, he's an English guy, he supports a questionable football team, a soccer team. And his wife doesn't like him having the TV on Saturday morning. He's afraid to miss if his team scores. So he's got a Wemo Switch, he's got the table lamp plugged in, and he goes out to the internet using if this, then that, and he can learn if his team scored a goal by the light flashes. Isn't that just pretty cool, right? So he knows he's participating in that without actually watching the game. He knows his team just scored a goal. I mean, that's just a simple way of enjoyment. But you also think about what this category is, right? It's quite disruptive, but you think about the precious assets that we have. We've got water, power, and gas, right? Water, as you know, I live in LA now, and it's just, so California has got a serious issue, but we all do. I mean, who would have thought? I'm from Ireland. They actually have water meters now in Ireland. So it's a universal issue. Water is a very precious asset. And so with Wemo Water, we can understand your water usage. You can understand if there's leakage. You can understand how it's been used. And so you can really manage that in a way that makes sense for you and the environment. So it really allows this understanding, as the video talks about, to monitor, measure, and manage. That's what it's really about, your life.
Wow, that's wonderful. And you're constantly researching consumer needs. I think you have something to share with us.
Yes, I do. So when we were doing some research about the category and so forth, we identified a psychographic. The early adopter, of course, is someone who's going to migrate to the brand initially, and we're crossing that now into the early majority. But the problem solver mindset is who we're really speaking to. And there's 6 key attributes of the problem solver mindset. And one of the really neat things that we learned, the category, when you go into retail, is called smart home or the connected home. Ironically, most people that are now buying these products are actually renters. And so thank you. Today I'm very, very pleased to be able to share with you some exclusive research hot off the press from MPD. MPD's Connected Intelligence Smart Home Advisory Service. And if you put up that slide, I can share with you. You can see, obviously, on the yellow is home, and then the blue is renters. And you can see the interest level in renters is now increased, is outpacing the interest level in homeowners. And that's real important. And that's why a brand like ours, Wemo, it fits right into that need because it's very, very flexible, adaptable. You can take it with you to your next place. It's not something that you need to leave permanently in your apartment when you are a renter. So that's a real important insight that we're talking about the smart home category. It's not a physical being, it's actually a mindset. Where you live, how you want to live. That's what Wemo's about.
That's wonderful. And thanks for sharing that with us. I think you just received this, yesterday?
Yesterday. This is really hot off the press, so exclusive from MPD.
Great, wonderful. So you've done such a phenomenal job coming back to the theme of this particular session in taking this consumer need and weaving a story to demonstrate that need and that benefit to the customer. Can you talk a little bit about that process and the story behind it? Yeah,
so you think about these products, and within our family, we've got 22 different products. And they all work in individual use cases. That's how somebody comes into the brand. I've got a distinct need. I need to be able to have the apartment cool when I come home. In the summer, or conversely in the winter, I like to have a light on when I come home. You got that peace of mind with insurance. It's very, very interesting. You think of it during the holidays. So many of you kind of left the home and go, oh, I left my Christmas tree lights on, I got to dash back, right? That kind of thing. I left the iron on, or whatever it is. That kind of that pain point, we want to alleviate that. We don't have to worry about anything. And so the storytelling is a way, it's not the product for the sake of the product, it's how you get on with your life and live in the moment. There's nothing worse than if you're out having lunch with your friends or having a coffee and you're actually thinking about what you need to do that night, like your dinner, getting your dinner ready for the family. And so with us, you can Wemo that. Wemo your lunch, Wemo your dinner. You don't have to care about anything else and just enjoy the moment, enjoy being in the present.
That's wonderful. I love the way you say Wemo that. I think a lot of brands have strived to have so much power in their message that a customer actually uses it as a verb, like Wemo that. But so many people are not successful. I mean, look at Clorox or Kleenex. They're incredible brands, but I still, bleach my house and I still blow my nose, but I'm not Wemoing.
Your life.
So, my
Yes.
life, right?
Yes.
So that's quite an accomplishment. How do you feel about that? And how's the customers responding? Are they taking that on?
Yes, they love it. I mean, social media is a great way to get that real-time feedback. And how they're Wemoing their lives is pretty phenomenal. There's one person who's got this, video on YouTube. They're actually Bitcoin mining. They are actually using their computers to mine Bitcoins. And if the graphic card goes down, they're losing money. And so this individual has a Wemo Insight switch, which measures the power usage. And if it deviates, that person knows that the video card's gone down, they got to replace it. That's how they're Wemoing their financial future.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. So you think about, like Barbara Messing yesterday from TripAdvisor was talking about, the quality of the reviews that they get. So take it to the next level. I'm using Wemo in my home. I'm using the Internet of Things brand. And I like certain settings, I like the lights in a certain way. I like the temperature to be a certain way. I like, coffee at a certain time. Why does someone have to go in and fill that out when they go to some place? Wouldn't it be just brilliant if it automatically populated their TripAdvisor profile and then all these, resorts could take that information and have the room set to the right ambience for that individual? You can Wemo that.
Wow. Amazing. And what I love about Wemo is, there's so many different things I love about it, but at the end of the day, it's about what Brian and Michael were talking about, which is really connectivity and helping people connect to each other. And to me, that's a beautiful benefit. I think we have another film to kind of demonstrate the implications of this for personal relationships. Can we roll the second film, please?
This is a poem for Rachel. Stick with me here, Rach. It was 1 year ago, the best day of my life. We made out in front of a priest, and you became my wife. We've had a whole year of memories, but I want you to see that it's the little things, Rach, that matter to me. Like that time you called my cooking the worst you've ever had, but that might be your battered ribs. Hey, weren't half bad. Or when we backpacked the Andes and it was just us two, and I drank the tap water when we got to Peru. When we got married, I said from the start, we'd never spend a single moment apart. Happy first anniversary. And I know I'm not really standing in this exact spot, but I promise you, we'll always be together, even when we're not.
That's wonderful. I actually literally almost cried when I saw that because it reminded me of my husband. I tell everybody I married my husband because of Uber, and I'm averse to technology, right? But
He wasn't the driver, was he?
He wasn't the driver,
Okay,
no.
okay.
And I had to be careful of that because Tamara over there, she does her meerkat on her Uber drivers. It's really kind of funny. No, my husband and I were coming out of a conference a concert, and there were like 10,000 people. I'm like, oh my God, we're never gonna need a cab. He's like, I got this covered, honey. He Ubers, a black car pulls up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so marrying this guy, right? So it's phenomenal, but technology can really bring people together, and you have all these different components in there, and what you've been able to do with that is break it apart and tell serialized stories. Can you share a little bit about how you're managing that?
Sure. I mean, we all see technology, and you see it every day how it's kind of disconnecting us from the world. We're all, focus on this little screen as opposed to living it. And so again, this is about how technology allows you to live back into the moment, being in the present. And this video is an example of the different ways you can Wemo your life. And what we've done is different aspects of it we have behind the scenes, how Dan did it. So for instance, how he set up the lights, come into the house, how he set up the dinner with the crock pot, Mr. Crockpot, or the Jordan crock pot, and then the sprinkler scene in the backyard. Those little vignettes of how Dan did it are also available online, so people can see how you can Wemo your life. And that's a very important feature of this problem solver. They're not technologists, but they love to use technology to solve problems. They don't go, that's cool. They want to go, wow, that's really neat. Let me figure out how to do that. So they really love to figure things out and then to share. And not share in a boastful way, but to be able to share so people can add to it and really build this community of all the different things that you can Wemo in your life. And the other thing I would say is, as marketers, I really urge you to think in a whole different way about how your brand will interact with other brands when it comes down to the Internet of Things. When you think about your connected crock pot, you think about your connected coffee, you think about all the different ways that your brand is now going to kind of come to life and play a different role in your consumers' experience. I think that is real important to step back and think and imagine that over the next 5 to 10 years, how your brand tenants will change. And so I think all of us have to really think that brand architecture and allow it just to be free-forming. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, before we get any more final thoughts from you, we have a few minutes left, and I'd like to open it up to the audience for questions. Anybody have any questions for Kieran? I can't really see any hands, so. Oh, yes.
So if this then that is, if this then, Martin Longo from Teletech, if this then that is sort of the consumer solution from an interoperability perspective, there seems to be a land grab going on for the middleware that addresses interoperability among different vendors. How do you see that unfolding in the nests, et cetera, that are going on right now?
Yes, great question. It really is a very nascent market right now. And just with any other market of that nature, the category is still evolving. Actually, Wemo itself was built 5 years ago, the platform. So we built the platform first before even the product came to market. And that expertise, we've really learned a lot in doing that. So the interoperability is going to be really important because there are going to be other products out in the marketplace and how they all work together. And for instance, we work very closely with Amazon Echo. You can use Amazon Echo to voice control Wemo. That's one great example. So if your hands are full, you can go, Wemo my lights, and they'll turn on, whatever it is, right? So yes, interoperability is going to be real important. Standards are a big part of that, so we're working very actively on what those standards look like to provide that degree of interoperability. But again, the richness of experience that people are looking for really comes with the platform that's being built. So for instance, conflict resolution. What do you do if two people are in the house at the same time? Who trumps who, right? And so that's the type of thinking that we've done within our platform to resolve. So we talk about do, think, act. Do, you can do something today, turn on your lights. Then we can think about that for you, we can observe, and then over time we can say, is that something you'd like for us to do for you on an ongoing basis? Because we recognize you have this certain thing you do at a certain time, and say yes. And then the act part is, we'll always do that for you, never have to worry about it. So do, think, act is a big part of our brand mantra.
Great, thank you. I have time for one more question. Anybody else? No?
How are people using the Internet of Things? Does anyone have a great example of what you're doing yourselves in your own personal lives with a smart home product? Anyone want to share? Wow, you're very quiet today.
How about anybody use a smart home product? No one. Oh, yes. Okay. How are you using your smart home product?
Well, it's really low tech, but one of the most transformative sort of home thingies was I got a Logitech Bluetooth adapter to our massive stereo system. So I can still get some good use out of it. I leave my car and I walk into my house and the music keeps playing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
That's great. Lovely.
Great.
Lovely.
Any other questions you have?
No?
Any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I really encourage you to think about how your brand will live in this connected age. It's a great example. It's not directly relevant, but McDonald's, besides the food, what's their major brand tenant over the last, how many years they've been around, 80, 70 years or something like that. It's probably not that old, but anyways, it's really location. McDonald's has the ideal location. And in the last few years, it's next up is Wi-Fi, okay? So Wi-Fi is a core part of the brand offering. And now today, in 50 McDonald's, they're actually doing wireless charging. So it's just one great example of a classic brand that's evolving. So again, just really encourage you all to think about how your brand can live in the connected age.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.